could teach. And, you know, I think you have to be a salesman when you're a coach. You have to be able to talk about the good of the whole, but you have to be able to convince them that this is something that's good for the team. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not just good for one person. And I think a lot of coaches coach because it's good for one person and because that person's where they put all their trust in. And I think when the players know that, hey, it's not just about, you know, getting Michael Jordan the ball 25 times a game so that he can score 35, 40 points. It's about this team having the best, you know, feel about it. Players seem to play a lot better if they can touch the ball and if they can have a chance to shoot it once in a while, even if they're, you know, we're not there.
Talked about mindfulness as being, you know, as much as we pump iron and we run to build our strength up, we need to build our mental strength up. We need to build our mental strength so we can focus, get one-pointed attention, and so that we can be in concert with one another in times of need. There was hiccups along the way, without a doubt. But as far as being willing learners with an open mind, they're very accommodating for me, and I'm very gracious and glad about that. Teaching moments. And in sports, there are a lot of teaching moments where players are either on the high side or maybe on the low side of what has happened on the court. And as a coach, you can always kind of bring them right back to the middle road. That was kind of what my process was, is to make sure that there's not too high or not too low as a standing. Nothing's going to be that bad, and nothing's that great in basketball. You're only a success for the moment you do a successful act. So these acts have to be repeated all the time. So your exuberance about one successful act or one successful game or one successful season is only a success at that time. You've got to repeat it, or you got to do the same thing again and again and again.
I think that, as I mentioned before, that a lot of it's intuitive. Who is it? Indy Jones, who's in one of his Indiana Jones, in one of his films. Steven Spielberg's guy, was asked, "What are we going to do next?" And he says, "I don't know. I'm just going by feel here." And that's kind of the way it is at times, that you have to follow your intuitive nature. It's about being attuned to your inner voice and being at peace with it. And in doing so, learning to lead from the inside out. You don't learn leadership skills, I think, from other people. I've gotten a lot of books sent to me about leadership. I think management has loads of books about leadership that people read, and they can pick up ideas from those. But if you're not authentic or who you really are, people see through that pretty quickly, and especially ball players. About me, it was about him and what you can't do. And we always have this statement: you can't change the spots on a leopard. That as much as you want a player that shows some talent to do something you want to do on your team, you have to look at what he really is and what it's really about, and use his attributes for what it is. And so that was a lesson learned early on in my career. And I was happy to learn that, because that's one of the things that everybody as a coach thinks that my coaching will help this guy along a whole lot. But a lot of times it's about what can he do inside of, what is his skills that can fit inside of our team framework that is going to help him. And how can he manifest his best skills when he does that, when he submits to the system and learns how to play. To a family that was competitive. And so as the youngest child, I had to really scurry to kind of meet up with older brothers and a mother who was very competitive. It's always a joke around the family that, when you play the memory game, with those little cards that you turn over that that my mom would beat 4-year-old kids because she was so competitive. But it was kind of bred in, this competitive nature. And as a process, I was always on winning teams, a successful athlete growing up, and I was very fortunate to enjoy that. And it wasn't until my last years in the NBA that I went to the New Jersey Nets for a couple of years and was on losing teams. So it was a great run for me, both in that nature. And to be honest with you, I wasn't the best player. I wasn't even a starter a lot of times. I did start 80 games or so in my career. But I was just fortunate to be in winning situations. And I think that winning becomes like habitual, and it becomes a motivating factor. When you win, you get a taste for it, and you want to continue to do it. And anything less than that is a failure.
Long line of people like, okay, you think about a battle, guy goes out, it's raining that day. Wow, everything goes to pot. All your plan is changed, and directly you're dealing with mud instead of, whatever. All these things that can go wrong in a, battle plan. And that's kind of the way it is in sports in a lot of ways too, that all these things have to kind of work together to flow. And I used to get letters a lot from retired, nuns from their retirement home, and about, we're praying for you and we watch the games. There are 12 of us here in this community. This is one group that wrote me, and I was like, oh, wow, you don't understand how much I covet prayer. That the fact that people want you to succeed is such a big part of what you do. And when I came to LA, and I go to Whole Foods or whatever, grocery store, people come up and tell me, I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad that you decided to come and coach the Lakers. And I was like, wow, with that kind of a feeling, we have to be successful. There's just so much goodwill flowing our way.